What's a hot toy mean that we could do?
What doctor would you do the for?
What doctor?
Peter Capaldi. No, I'm just kidding.
Absolutely the fuck not. Okay.
Dr. Donna.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to the Timey-Wimey Talks podcast.
Podcast, hang out, come chill with us.
With your Sonic sisters,
Alyssa
and Tyara. Okay, so we have two special episodes. First, we are going to do Alyssa's favorite episode, and we're going to discuss it. And then we're going to do mine. But A goes for Alyssa. She goes first.
I go first.
So we're
Just
discussing her favorite episode.
Midnight.
I
love Midnight.
She loves it. So she's watched it 10 times. I've watched it 2 times. And now we're going to discuss it, why it's Alyssa's favorite episode. Because
I could make this episode an hour long if I really, really wanted to.
Let's talk about it.
I know.
Let's talk about the depth, the oomph, the ooh la la.
The oomph. We had to start re-recording this, actually, because I was just getting way too into the episode.
She's like, let me tell you everything that happens down to every single detail.
Yeah. So Tyara was like, do you just want to start again?
Yeah. You're like, yeah, let's
probably
just redo this because I'm getting too excited.
I'm too passionate. But anyway, in Midnight, it's the doctor and Donna. I'll just give a short rundown. And Donna stays back at the Leisure Palace, gets all the salon services, gets a massage. She relaxes a little. She deserves it. And so the doctor goes on this expedition with I think like 7 other people, something like that, and the hostess on this tram that takes them to the Sapphire Waterfall. And the usual route that the tram takes, that the Crusader Tours takes, there's like storms or something's wrong with it. And so the computer works out a new pathway all on its own. And you might be able to guess that something goes wrong. And basically on the diamond planet Midnight, it's all made of diamonds, and there's no life that can survive because the rays are extonic outside. There's a professor, his assistant, there's a mom, a dad, a son, Jethro, who is also Merlin in the show Merlin. I sent Tyara a meme today, and it was a Doctor Who meme, and it was like me resisting the urge to say another show that this actor's been in every single time I see them on screen.
So true. This is like Alyssa every episode. She's like, did you know that they're actually in this?
Did
I'm like, did you know that they're actually actors, so they would be in multiple things? Did you know that? Did you know that that's actually their job?
And I didn't know that.
She's like, did you know that this isn't their only job and they have to make a living besides the show?
Yeah. And now I know. Now I'll stop being. Now I'll stop being annoying.
They're actors. They do these kind of things.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so they're on the planet Midnight and nothing can survive. However, at one point,
something comes knocking at the door.
Yes, knocking at the hole, knocking at the sides of the tram.
And then it gets juicy, and then it gets crazy.
That's so true. That's a good way to describe it.
Why do you like this episode so much? What was so impactful for you?
So I really liked, I guess, just to kind of sum it up, I really liked that it's kind of just a story. It's shot in one location, number one, which is another thing that I really liked about Boom, the episode from this latest season. Because if you're shooting it in one location, ultimately you have to tell a good story.
Yeah, you have to add a lot of depth to it.
Your actors have to do a good job as well.
It's almost like a maze room.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fun.
Yeah, it is. It's super cool. And, it stayed funny, too. Even while like this crazy stuff is going down and all their lives are in danger. Like at one point, the creature is repeating the doctor, Miss Sky Silvestri, and he makes her repeat like, "Oh, doctor, you're very handsome. Oh, why, yes, thank you so much." I just think it's so funny, so quirky,
so quirky.
Yeah,
doctors.
So it stays lighthearted and fun. So you stay along for the ride, even when they're still trying to figure out how to fix this, what's going on. And this is something new for the doctor, too. I really liked that the creature, I feel like it was super unique in terms of like they never see it. They don't know what it looks like.
Yeah.
By the end of the episode, the doctor never
They
knows.
never find out. And
never
we
knows
see
what
that
it
in some
is.
episodes, but not
Mhm.
many. But we
Yeah.
don't see a lot in episodes where we don't even see
Mhm.
what he's fighting at all. Like, he
Yeah.
genuinely doesn't, because the doctor is so curious, and this is an itch that he will never be able to scratch.
Yeah.
And will never figure out what actually happened.
Yeah, and like the silence too. The doctor couldn't see it, but we got to see it.
Yeah.
I like that in this episode we didn't get to see it. You know, the
Mhm.
only kind of description we got of it was from the mechanic trainee, and he was like, it's just sort of like shifting, like it's a dark figure shifting, running towards us. And I was like, ooh, that's
Yeah.
scary. And I don't know, the buildup was really good, the timing was really good. Like, they say something and it's all building up and then the lights turn on, or they say something and then that exact thing happens, and it
was
just,
like a scary movie.
ooh,
Like,
yeah.
it gives you the chills, but it's like a problem
Mhm.
solving. It's fun. And what I liked about it is this is like the first time, and not a lot of times, that you see them like go on vacation,
That's
because
true.
in your head you just see them going on all these missions, and like
Mhm.
literally every time they go somewhere something goes
Something
wrong.
big happens.
It's almost like they're bad luck.
Yeah.
And like it does show you that they have their leisure time, and like seeing the doctor as like a tourist
Yeah.
is so funny, because he just is like, "Oh, Donna, I'm gonna go on this train to go look at the
Mhm.
waterfall.
Don't you want to come?
She's like, "You can stay here, honey. You can stay and get your sauna, and
Mhm.
I'll go on my little waterfall adventure."
Yeah, that I can't think of another episode where they kind of do that.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
it was weird to see him sitting down in a train.
He's
Like,
by himself. He doesn't
not
have
even
Donna
in the
with him.
TARDIS, because like he could just pop to this,
Mhm.
waterfall. But
Yeah.
he's in a train for 4 hours just sitting like a
Yeah.
commoner
Yeah,
with everybody
like a
else.
commoner.
Like, as a tourist. So to me it was just
Yeah.
weird to see him like in that state of just, okay, I have to sit here and watch a movie
Mhm.
and with everybody
Well-
else, and then he like cuts it off because
Yeah. And I really liked also how he was learning about all the people on
Mhm.
board too. He took some time to talk to everyone. Like you said, he cut all the media off, all the distractions. And so he was like, and one of the passengers was like, well, what are we gonna do now? And he's like, tell you what, guess we'll have to all talk to each other. And then they all just kind of share in these like fun moments, and he learns about these humans whom he, you know, really shouldn't care about because he's basically a god. And he does, like, it just shows you, like, it's really heartwarming to, he's getting to know everyone. And
to me it was more of less like he was overstimulated. Like, you could kind of tell, like, I don't know if autistic people can relate to this, but you could kind of see that in him, where it was just like too much stimulation.
There was
and
a
you
lot.
see that in a lot of the episode where he gets too overstimulated and people are yelling. He's like, everybody just stop talking. He's just like,
he did do that in this
like, he does that a lot. So I don't know if people can relate to that. I know
Mhm.
I get overstimulated a lot with touching and loud noises. So it was just, I was like, I got distracted. I was like, what are you
Number
doing?
one villain, Alyssa's finger.
Alyssa's finger. So it was just kind of funny to see him get overstimulated. He's like, okay, I'm literally just gonna shut everything off,
Yeah.
and we're just gonna talk to each other because I
Yeah.
cannot handle the
No,
overstimulated.
yeah, and also everyone else like didn't really care for all the media either too. It was
Yeah.
like, it was just a whole thing.
But you liked the episode more of, as what you told me, is like how people handle certain situations. So if you want to talk about that.
Right. Like, so if, in the beginning, they're all getting along, they're all chummy, and they're all sharing stories, laughing together. But as soon as the danger comes, at first they trust the doctor, but things start getting worse. They start to blame him. They start to be like, even though he's like the one guy who can help him out of the situation. However, they're scared out of their minds, and I'm trying to imagine myself, like, if I were on that tram, I probably wouldn't, I would probably be like Jethro. I probably would like kind of be against it, but then, I just want everything to be okay. Ultimately, I want to go back to my own little world. It's just really cool to me to see human nature played out in an episode like that. And even in one that's as entertaining as this one is.
Mhm.
I just really, I don't know. my brain just is really happy when I see that.
So what I noticed, okay, so all the smart people, which was the doctor and who was that scientist that he would always talk to in the episode?
I don't remember the professor, but Dee Dee was his assistant. The one with the glasses and the professor with, yeah.
Okay, Dee Dee was a scientist and she was also kind of almost as clever as a doctor. Like she understood what was happening with the train. She kind of
like the circular filters.
Yeah, she understands the circular filters. She understands the systems. And it was crazy to see. If you kind of notice, this kind of made me think, because we have an election. We live in America, so we have an election every 4 years, and this is our election year. And it's in times of trouble, when everybody's stressed out, they go to the strongest leader, and it's not necessarily the most correct or the most rational leader. It's just the one who speaks the loudest. And you see that in this episode, because there's logic that they're speaking.
Yeah.
And they're calm and they're quiet and they're collective. But in this episode, that doesn't matter. The ones who really led was not the doctor. They didn't want to listen to logic because they just kind of thought he was almost like hyping himself up too much. Like, oh, I'm clever. Listen to me. Like, I'm smarter than you. And they just didn't like how that made them feel, you know, kind of like he was being demeaning.
Yeah, like, who do you think you are?
You think that we're so stupid, blah, 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 blah. And the ones who really made the decisions was the dad, who was like, kill them, just throw them out.
Yeah, he's like, I'll throw them out.
I'll throw them out. And he was like, I'm going to be the one to make the decision. It's not going to be the right decision. Everybody else, I don't care what the rationality is. I'm going to make the executive decision. We're not going to listen to it. But they only listened to him because he was the loudest.
Yeah.
And the most aggressive. And so this kind of just shows what happens in leadership when everybody's scared. They're not always making the most rational decisions, and they don't always listen to the most rational person.
Yeah.
They don't want to listen to rationality. That's not they don't want to listen to the voice of reason. They would rather go with who's like the most powerful and like the most respected in that moment.
And I think being loud a lot of the time equates to being confident in people's minds, which is not true. You know, you see Dee Dee, she's like a little mousy, you know, the professor always puts her down. She's my assistant.
Yeah, she's very timid.
She's not like me, like I'm the professor, I know everything. And it's shown that he's pretty like stupid throughout the episode. The doctor kind of tells him like, okay, professor, it's great that you have an idea of how life in the universe exists, but maybe the universe has different plans. Maybe you don't know everything. And that kind of shuts him up for a little while. But it's like, as a king or as a leader, like, you can never question your decisions. Like, if you're sure about this one thing, you never go back on it. Like, people are going to follow you. You think that you're right. And, you know, and I'm equating that to not just even our daily life, like just everywhere all the time. Like, you can't be a leader without having strong values and being right there all the time. So I think you're completely right.
So that's what I think it was cool to see in this episode, was to just show, like, there was logic and there was reason talking and there was people trying to speak, but the loudness and the confidence overtook the timid Dee Dee. Yeah, because even though she had something to say, like, and she was right about it, she wasn't confident.
Yeah, and it wasn't until the doctor like shut everyone up and he was like, quiet, you know, and then he's like, listen to Dee Dee. And they listened to him because he was super loud. But then Dee Dee told them exactly the right answer, and then they stopped freaking out about that one thing. So she's like, yeah, the air's on a circular filter. We can keep breathing for 10 years. And if they had just listened to her from the beginning instead of just like been like, how much air do we have? Are we all gonna die? Blah, 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 blah. But that's what people do when they're scared. They need a voice to just be like, I'm gonna guide you.
I'm gonna tell you what to do, even if that means killing people or whatever. Like, at least you're confident and you're loud and you're not demeaning. Because I think in this episode it shows, like, the doctor's like, listen to me, I'm so clever. I'm clever. I'm clever. I'm clever. It's annoying. Like, have you ever been in school? Like, okay, so
that's why I love him so much.
And
like, you're so out of touch.
It just reminds me of, in school, I used to play violin, and this one girl was such a know-it-all. And it just completely irritated all of us because she was almost demeaning in the way that she would describe stuff like, you're playing in B flat. And I was like, well, I don't really know what B flat is. And she's like,
are you stupid?
Yeah, like, okay,
but
like,
would she
figure
get
it out.
all the like solos and all the like bigger parts?
Yeah, which would just like frustrate me. And okay, so this was kind of horrible. So our whole group our whole violinist section
your
ensemble,
elite violin squad,
hated her because she was just such a know-it-all. She was a great violinist, and we were immature and we were small. This was a horrible thing to do. I'm not gonna lie, but we all banded together and we got her because every time there was a solo that was to be played, or we were selecting first chair, second chair, third chair, you could have a violin competition based on what music we were playing that week, and you can challenge somebody for their seat. So this one girl who was not as good as a violinist challenged the really like good violinist, and we all went together
voted for that one girl
and told each other we were going to vote for this other girl to get her knocked off. And our music teacher was livid. Absolutely livid.
Well, it's because I'm sure she didn't talk to the teacher that way.
But this just shows how, if you're a know-it-all, people don't want to listen to you. No. They would rather die. At that moment as a child, I would rather die than to see you have first chair.
I'd rather give up the violin forever.
Yeah, like I was... So this kind of just reminded me of that situation because I was like,
really funny. I didn't know that.
Hated how like, I mean, she was just kind of stuck up about her violin skills. Sure. Like she was good and she knew it, and she's doing great right now. So
I'm glad.
I'm happy for her. That was horrible of us to do that. I do not recommend. We were in elementary school, 6th grade. Everybody was kind of a butthole.
Yeah, but that's humans.
But that's what we do. Teaches you life. You know? I'm sure she was humbled after that.
Oh, yeah. You did her a favor.
I did her a favor. Yeah. Like, you're welcome.
I don't know how this reminded me of this, but one thing I really liked in that episode, too, was, like, when they're all in the back of the tram and the Sky Silvestri, the one who's possessed at the moment, she's still repeating what everyone's saying. And the way the camera like cuts back and forth, and I really like how she's blurry in the background, like as the doctor's talking, but you can still see her mouth moving. Like I really appreciated that they paid attention to that detail, and you can like, I don't know, as a viewer, I'm trying to imagine me watching it the first time. I'm like watching this, I'm like, you guys, it's still going on. Like don't forget about her. She's still talking. But I thought that was really cool, and good job to the lady who played Sky Silvestri and David Tennant, how they had to record those lines of just like banana, what is the square root of pi or something like that. Like, I don't know, I was nerding out.
Also, really cool. What I liked about this episode is the fact that it was almost intense because it wasn't intense, because you didn't know it was going to happen. Yeah. She didn't really do anything but repeat things, but it was scary because you didn't know what was going to happen. You didn't know if one time she was just going to go feral and just start crawling onto the ground.
They didn't know what the stages were.
You know, like you didn't know the stage. So it was almost intense.
Big scary monster.
Because when you see the doctors like this close to her face, and like she's repeating stuff, you're like, back away. Like whoa, she could turn into an alien. She might bite you.
Might bite your nose off.
Like we don't know what's happening. So I liked how it was not intense. Like it wasn't like action packed.
I'm realizing that now. I liked that a lot too.
But it was intense because you didn't know what was gonna happen.
You didn't know what was gonna happen. It was so suspenseful, and they don't even know if it's trying to kill them, but the doctor's trying to figure it out for them.
And he never does. And you know who saves them is the hostess who they don't even know who her name is.
That end part
the ending.
The end part where the doctor's like, what was the hostess's name? And then it's like silent for like 5 seconds, and then the professor goes, I don't know. And you just kind of think about that. You sit there and you're like, oh wow. Like how many people in the doctor's life have been like that? Like have basically she died for him, you know? I mean, she died for everybody on the tram, but up till that moment, we weren't sure what was going to happen. We thought the doctor was going to die. I mean, obviously we know he can't die.
We know the show continues.
But it was still really stressful, and she sacrificed her life in those final moments. She just decided to do it, like unsung hero. And also when the mom like looks at the doctor at the end
I hated
she's
that.
like
hated
I
that.
said it was her, like she was the monster, and then
the doctor was just like, I am so close to just throwing you outside right now, woman. And I like how you could see the fight or flight on the doctor's face while he's repeating the words. He's resisting so hard.
He
and
was
at
scared.
at the end, what saved him was the fact that he got into the head of the monster by repeating Alan Z. Like,
oh yeah,
do
like
you
Alan
remember?
Z and Molto Bene.
Yeah,
like,
Molto
just so the
Bene.
hostess would
And
like,
so
that's his
the
last ditch effort
Yeah,
too.
and he got into the monster's head, and I thought that was cool because it was like then they recognized, they're like, the doctor's fighting through it, and it's not his
Well,
voice.
she was the only one who recognized it too.
Yeah.
Like, thank God that she paid attention, because like ultimately the doctor is really helpless in this episode. He doesn't have his TARDIS, and he doesn't have anything.
He didn't actually solve any of the problems.
No.
Just somebody died, and then they solved the problem for him. So it's like, yeah, all of his cleverness, blah, 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 but honestly, it didn't do anything to help the situation.
Which is another thing we were kind of talking about, like with one of the commenters for one of the previous videos, of how we really like to see those side characters' stories a lot of the time, where it's not all about the doctor, or he doesn't get to be the hero. Kind of spending time to show us characters like that. It's like the heart of the show. I feel like it helps you connect, and it I don't know, there's something really heartwarming, really human about watching these lesser people sacrifice themselves, and you get to see their lives too. Like, some people might think in the beginning, where the doctor's talking to everyone, oh, this is like pointless, like we didn't need this, but I really like that. I really like that they, the parents told the story of the pool is abstract, and the doctor laughs at it. Like, that's such a, I don't know, I just really like that.
What I liked in the ending, the doctor's telling Donna the story of what happened to him, and why that was so impactful to me, because you start to realize that he doesn't need a companion. He just wants somebody to like live his stories with him.
Oh, yeah.
The doctor is almost selfish for bringing a companion, because he knows he doesn't need one.
Yeah, and
he's
he knows
clever in itself. He doesn't need a companion. It's almost like the companion gives him confidence. Like, when you're in a situation, you feel more confident just having somebody there that knows you, that
true.
you know.
I think companions keep him grounded.
Yeah,
too.
they keep him grounded.
Otherwise, he would go off the rails with all his power.
And so it was almost like just seeing that last interaction where he's telling her about that day just shows like everybody feels lonely, even the doctor. Like, he wants, like, he has all of these magical moments, and he selfishly brings somebody along with him that he knows is could
Their
kill
life
them,
could be ruined,
just because like he just genuinely does not want to do it alone, which kind of shows his like selfishness a little bit.
I really like that you like pulled that from there, and the way that like Donna just sees it in his face and goes to hug him. Like, she just knows, like, I think he really, you're right, like, he needs that person to rely on, to have a shoulder to cry on.
It's like you have these experiences in this memory, but if that person wasn't there and you didn't have like another person to relive it, they don't understand the emotions that you went through.
Yeah.
So it's like you're telling somebody a story, but they're not really understanding like what you felt, what they felt, what the whole
and sometimes
scenario
you don't have the
felt,
words to describe it.
So it's like having someone that experienced what you're experiencing and knows the emotion that went into it
makes it more real.
Just makes it more real, so that when you're like thinking back at it at a memory, you're like, remember when we went through this? And they remember, like, they remember all the emotions, they remember the struggle, they remember like everything. And that's what you like need like in a partner, why like people like love, because it's like you have somebody to tell your whole day, and it's important, and
it feels really good to know that you weren't alone. Like, you're never alone. Well,
thank you so much.
Thanks for watching
our Timey-Wimey Talks podcast.
You guys are the best. Really.
I'm just kidding. No, you guys are the best.
Yeah, we live for
whatever
the days.
makes you sleep at night. I'm just kidding.
We actually live for the days that we film. It's probably 50% of our conversation.
Yeah, thank you for listening to us.
We talk a lot. Yeah, exactly.
Feel free to comment, have any other points. If you like this episode, if you didn't like the episode, what is your favorite episode?
It was hard to pick like a favorite, but this one was like my favorite since I was a kid, so I decided to go with this one.
And then we're going to do mine next. So stay tuned. Next week, we're going to drop my favorite episode.
And it's a good one.
It's a good one.
It's a good one.
It's a good one.
With her favorite doctor.
Oh, Matt Smith. I love him.
Yeah, she does. She does. I think he's a good doctor, but David Tennant's always in my heart.
I just think like Matt Smith. I talked to another girl and she also thought David Tennant was hot. So it's not just you.
It's the brain, bro.
I just was not attracted to him like that. But Matt Smith, I was attracted to him like that. I'm not gonna lie.
She likes no eyebrows.
There's two of you.
Don't forget click below to subscribe to
Timey-Wimey Talks. So let's say you were like abducted by aliens, like, and the aliens were like,
if only,
and the aliens were like, okay, but these are like scary aliens.
Okay,
they're like, we'll just take you, or we'll take you and your mom.
Oh, I remember this question. Yeah.
And like selfishly, I take my mom because I would be less scared just having my mom around. Like I'd be like, oh, I could deal with it. Even knowing that she could get probed with me and also just like be dissected and die. I just don't want to go through that experience alone. So I'd rather take my mom.
Understandable.
So I don't know why that related to me to this episode, but I was like, his companions are like me. Like, okay, if I was going through this horrible experience and I knew that I'm gonna have to save the world, I'd rather take somebody with me.
I'm not doing it alone.
Because I would feel safer getting probed if my mom was there. And she was like, dude, I'm getting probed too.
When we make merch, let's put that on a shirt. I would feel more comfortable getting probed with my mom.
Bro, mom, hold my hand while I'm getting probed. No, but do you know what I'm saying?
I know.
His companions are like my mom. Like they're the hand.
They're the same, yeah. The doctor and his companion is you and your mom getting probed on an alien spaceship.
Well,
that's so true.
But what would you do? Would you rather go by yourself?
I would go by myself.
But wouldn't you feel more confident if you knew somebody was there with you? Like you'd feel less scared.
For sure.
And you'd be like, okay, I can think now because I'm less scared. I know somebody that I know is with me going through the same thing. And like, have you ever gone through those experiences where like you have to be brave for the other person because you know them and you're protecting them, and that makes you more rational?
Yeah.
Even if they're not really doing anything and they're not helping, you're just like, oh, thank God this idiot's here.
I think I would not want to take anyone just because I would be
rather get probed.
No, yeah, I want all the probing for myself. I don't want it all used up on some stinky hoe. No, I would be too scared for the other person. I would be too worried about what's happening to them.
Nah, bro, take that picture with me. I'm sorry, but if I have to go through it, you're gonna go through it too.
Yeah, we're wrapping it up.
I'm like,
we're
Alyssa,
wrapping it up.
I'm like, no, Alyssa wakes up in the spaceship and she's like, oh, how did I get here? They got both of us. And I was like, no, I took you with me. And she'd be like, are you serious?
I asked them to go to your house.
Yeah, no, I told them to pick you up too. I was like, I wasn't doing this alone.
Oh my God. Okay, we're saying bye now.
Oh, we're done with the episode?
Yeah, it's 30 minutes.
Oh, I didn't know that we had a time cap on our geniusness.
Does anybody want to watch us talk about probing for an hour?
No, this is good content. This is like real life stuff that people care about. This is stuff that you can ask your friend.
Okay, sound off in the comments.
Do you want your mom to hold your hand while you get probed? Or not?
I wonder if anyone's ever gotten that asked before. You should have made that your senior quote.
Do you want to...
Would you get probed alone or with your mom?
Bro, this sounds so bad. But I'm not even like getting it up my butt. Like, how do you get probed? Is it always up your butt?
Up your butt? I don't know. I've never gotten probed that I know of.
That's what I'm saying.
They erase your memory, don't they?
If you did get probed, just know it was because I picked you up.
Okay. If I wake up some morning and I feel a little sore, I'll know what happened.
You're like, Tyara,
Hopefully.
I told you to leave me at home.
I told you I didn't want this.
Well, do you have any other notes about the episode?
No, I haven't for a while.
So this is like, I'm real busy just talking.
Thanks for watching.
Call your mom, tell her you want her to hold your hand while I get probed.
I thought you were gonna say call your mom, tell her you love her.
No.
Okay, I'll say it. Call your mom, tell her you want to get probed together. Gotcha.
Got him. Got him.
Bye.
Bro, what is in my eye?
Your finger.
Bro. Can you hawk to get it out of my eyeball? Is that a good one?
No.